And we are live for episode 57 of the Panenka View podcast. Another special podcast in the making because the Serie A is back, and I have with me people who have been very consistent on the podcast, and who have supported this journey on and out from day one and are still going on. We are all excited that the Italian league is
On the
back,
podcast,
and
and who have supported this journey on and out from day one and are still going on. We are all excited.
I think I can hear an echo. Is it? Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
let me just mute from my.
Yeah. So, so sorry for the delay, but we have the Calcio India brethren with me. I have Yogesh from Napoli, India, and I have Ajay from AS Roma, who's making his debut on the Calcio edition of this podcast. If you've listened, if you've heard the podcast before, we've covered Forza India and his wonderful journey there, and we still hope to do many more episodes. But this is the Calcio India episode, and I love doing these because we are reviewing Coppa Italia semifinal second legs. And what better to start and introduce Yogesh on his views on how Napoli and Inter went about. I know you must be very excited. Another cup final, and if you win, turned around your season. Yogesh, let's get your thoughts on the semi-final second leg. Firstly,
Well, firstly, it's good to have football back after such a disastrous stretch of time. So it's good to have football back, and what better than seeing Napoli beat Inter, and that to a very strong Inter team. Napoli, it showed they were a bit rusted, but it worked. Mertens overtook Hamsik as the all-time leading goal scorer. Insigne was delightful, and we have cup final against Sarri's Juventus. So that's already an exciting matchup. Couldn't be more excited to see Sarri and Cristiano Ronaldo and win this Coppa Italia.
Ajay, let's have your opinion as well on a certain man of the match player who's David Ospina. I'm sure Yogesh must be raring to weigh in on that as well. But Ajay, David Ospina clearly the difference maker there, along with other players as well, Koulibaly. But David Ospina with those three crucial saves and that pre-assist to set up Insigne on his way to that goal. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, firstly, as Yogesh said, it's fantastic to have Calcio back. It became Italy was the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic. So to have any kind of football back is a blessing. And two good games, both the return legs of the Coppa Italia semi-final, and good to see all the four teams putting in a good shift. Coming to your question, I think goalkeepers barely get any credit. It's really unfair that the attackers or maybe a defender these days takes away all the plaudits. So you mustn't forget that David Ospina was probably one of the reasons why Inter scored right from the corner. The corner from Ericsson just went in, but to redeem himself and how, as you said, those assists and the pre-assist and the saves were crucial. Just before the goal, before Napoli's equalizer, and then towards the end as well. It's a shame that he won't be playing the final, right? Yogesh, he's suspended for the final.
Yes, he's suspended for the final. I was a bit surprised that Alex Meret didn't start, but Ospina after that initial mix up with the team, he completely redeemed himself. Those saves were unbelievable, and the ball for Insigne's assist was pitch perfect. So couldn't have a better performance from Ospina. I think this was one of the best games in his entire Napoli career.
And Yogesh, stay there while I ask you the next question. 2 minutes into the game and the way Napoli conceded, with the very first minute, you are leading with that solitary goal, and that is cancelled out in the very first minute. How did you feel after? What was going on in your mind at that time?
Well, it felt like nothing has changed since the football stopped back in February. So at that time, Napoli was conceding very similar random goals with the first attack on shot on goal. We were conceding goals left and right, and it's the same we after 120 seconds we are back into that Napoli. We are getting that Napoli back, and we conceded a very absurd goal. but it's fine. I'm like the team redeemed itself. I'm like they kept on fighting. First half was a bit lackluster, but Insigne luckily got that run away, and he did. Insigne was like all with all his touches and all, he was already looking very dangerous. Mertens was looking a bit off, but he redeemed himself with the goals and the play after that. So it was all in all a very solid performance, considering that these guys are coming like 3-4 months from a break.
Definitely. I love the way the game went about, and Ospina, overturned that. But Ajay, one more thing, and that is to absorb pressure in the first half, to soak in all that pressure that Inter were throwing at them, and to come back that way, to Insigne leading from the front. Did you expect an Inter win? Did you expect a Napoli win? And any other player performances that you would highlight in that?
It was a team effort. I would really want to highlight Rino Gattuso's role over here. Napoli were in a mess at the start of the season, with Carlo Ancelotti leaving and a lot of players protesting, and with an uncertain future, and De Laurentiis being one of the most eccentric owners out there in the game. So they were in a huge mess, and credit to Gattuso for coming around and actually turning the fortunes of the Napoli team. And for a while we thought that that they're not going to make it in the top four, but they have an out chance right now because Gattuso has managed to pull some results, and the icing on the cake being getting them into a cup final. So yeah, massive plaudits to Gattuso, and as well as you mustn't forget Fabian Ruiz has been having a fantastic season. So his goal against Inter in the first leg in the San Siro among 60,000 spectators, and with them backing Inter was quite good. So I think if we had to pick a Napoli player right now, I think it's Fabian Ruiz, and he's been linked with moves to Real Madrid and Barcelona, and it's no surprise because he's been having a terrific season for them.
Great analysis, Ajay. I mean, I received Ajay's message saying, that he was not going to watch the match, but he was definitely going to study them. And since we wanted to do this podcast, and I know, it's so great to have you back. But now let the fireworks begin, because we are. We have Swarnim here, and you can already see the smile on his face. And we are switching over to the first semifinal, the first semifinal that took place, like 0-0 between Juve and Milan. The first 20 minutes, a penalty decision and a red card. Swarnim, all yours.
See, I don't see any question there. How in the name of God was that not a red card? I don't do kicks like that even when I do my martial arts. I don't do that. So, red card was very obvious.
It reminded me of Nigel de Jong's tackle in the World Cup final 2010. That reminded me of that.
Exactly. And see, that game for me more than results was about the start of football again. That I said before the match as well, that results don't really matter in this period. I'll be happy if Napoli wins the Coppa Italia, because at least we have football back. That's the biggest thing here. But it's like if Juve wins, it's like having the cherry on top of the cake. So, yes. And about the penalty against Milan, again, I don't see why there was any source of discussion there. It was clear as clear as it could be. I don't see any point of discussion there. And yes, okay, we missed. Donnarumma made a fantastic save, and Ronaldo did a bad penalty kick finally. So, but yes, I'm happy we won, and I'll be happy if we win again on Wednesday.
Well, the question for Ajay and Yogesh remains the same. I mean, we all can agree on the red card. Let's talk a bit more about that penalty, and any difference of opinions there.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, go ahead,
And
Yogesh. Go ahead.
it was the sliders of touches, and it's only because of VAR that such a penalty has been given. I'm not sure whether any other referee in that position would have given this penalty or not. But if Like it's because of these inconsistencies with the referee's opinion on these slight handballs, the controversy is rising. Some referees, like Orsato, gave that penalty, but I'm like probably some other referee wouldn't have given that penalty even after watching the replay on their video screen. So I'm like that's the whole point of contention, and yeah, I'm like it's bad that even with the video assistant we are still stuck in the same place.
But I think that's the whole point of having VAR, right? So that those decisions that cannot be seen by the naked eye can be caught. And it's not like we haven't been having decisions go against us with due to VAR. So when something happens against us, it's no problem. When something happens in favor of us, then the World War III begins.
Well, yeah, like Juventus luck is out of this world. I'm like they get a penalty and 5 seconds later the opponent gets a red card. So their luck is surely out of this world.
But I think over 180 minutes, I think Juve deserved to go through. Yeah, Milan really shot themselves in the foot. I mean, just imagine Donnarumma had just saved a penalty, and the Milan bench was celebrating. And before they could even go back to the bench, you got Rebic with a ridiculous challenge, man. I mean, it's a clear red all day.
And to be honest, with Rebic, I think Milan could have won the game given the way we were playing.
Yeah, he was a star player before before football stopped. Rebic and Theo Hernandez were Milan before the coronavirus outbreak happened.
That situation reminds me meme on the internet where a guy sticks a piece of wood on his own bicycle and then cries about it when he falls over. Exactly.
Let's move on to the next question, and we have two clubs who have had this man as their manager, and if you know what I'm talking about, and he likes to admit him, he likes to be open about it in the press conference as well, and he said he made a couple of mistakes with that triple substitution. Let's get Swarnim's view on that. Swarnim, what did you make of those substitutions firstly, and could that have gone the other way?
See, it could have definitely gone the other way. And like Sari said himself, he got too excited because of the new rules. But to be very honest, I don't expect these things from a manager on that level. If I make such a mistake, it's still an excuse. But you are manager of one of the biggest club in Europe. That shouldn't be the excuse. But more than for me, what changed, the substitution didn't really change much. It was expected to have a sluggish performance after this big break. But yes, like I said before, glad to be in the final, and I'll be gladder to win it.
Ajay, and since we are discussing the whole point about how Italy was the epicenter and how it has fought back from that the times I remember the Prime Minister of Italy saying things that it has gone out of control, and the way it has been brought back and the way football is beginning. Let's get your thoughts as a guy who also runs a football academy on the grassroots level. The difficulties that the clubs are going to face post this getting back on track, playing those amount of crazy fixtures to complete the season, and then with the financials.
Yeah. So to begin with, the five substitution rule has been, it's been a blessing because after such a long gap with no physical activity, with no group training whatsoever, you are expected to get a lot of injuries in your team. Soft tissue injuries, muscle injuries are going to be very common. So if a manager has five substitutions, definitely helps him to rotate the squad better. So that is the number one thing. And number two, these guys will take time to come back to peak fitness because you're suddenly putting them into 100 kmph from zero. So it takes time, and 3 months has passed since football was last played, and unlike a normal preseason where you have everything planned out, this is something which is far unique, and everyone is experiencing this pandemic for the first time. And something that hasn't been said a lot, especially in the media, is the mental health of the players, because God knows what they're going through in their heads. So there is also a fear, I think, which was epitomized by N'Golo Conte not coming and training with the Chelsea team because he was fearful that he might contract the virus, or a Troy Deeney in England, not deciding to trade. So there's that fear also. So it's a very unique situation for all. I think Germany has set a very good benchmark in terms of the return. And I went through the document that the Bundesliga had released. It was fantastic. I mean, they covered every aspect of it. So as Yogesh and Swarnim were also saying, that it's fantastic to have football back, man. I mean, that's the first thing. We don't care about the results. We don't care about the players' performances. It's just amazing that we have it back, and this is something which is going to be quite unique. So I think we need to support. I mean, all of us, we support our clubs, we support our players, but this is where we actually go the extra mile in supporting them as a fan.
Very well put there, Ajay. Very well put. And this is the beauty. All four of us can agree on that. That the second national anthem after our country, which would give us goosebumps, is the Italian national anthem. Even though I don't support a Serie A, but and that's why I was very quiet throughout this lockdown. I was just praying that things get better, because in the end that's what all of us want. And what better than to have football this weekend? So for all our viewers who are going to watch this, and for all our listeners who are going to listen to this on the audio, we will have the Serie A preview episode after the Coppa Italia final. But before we go, and this is the best part, according to me, is the prediction time for the Coppa Italia final. And this is what I love. The two teams that are playing in the final, and one neutral aspect of that, because I as a host won't be predicting, because I am out of predictions totally. So let's go first to Yogesh, and then let's get Swarnim, and then let's finish it off with Ajay.
Well, I'm predicting a 3-0 win with Mertens, Insigne, and Milik scoring. So that would be the perfect way to have football back.
Yeah, of course. Why not? And I beat Real Madrid 6-0 today in my PlayStation. You're most welcome to try and do that at Napoli against Juventus 3-0. On a serious note, I think it's going to be 1-0, hopefully in favor of Juventus. I don't see a very big goals, a huge number of goals scored. It's going to be 1-0 or 2-1, something like that. I expect a closely fought game, and hopefully we win.
I'm actually going for a penalty shootout. It'll be great for as a neutral to watch a penalty shootout. I think Juventus will find a way to win this, just because they're really good at the situation, and this is a trophy that Ronaldo hasn't won. So I'm sure that he would put in that extra, and he wasn't really at the top of his game against Milan. And knowing how Ronaldo is, I'm sure he knows that he's the first one to know that he didn't perform to his top level. So he'll probably deserve a special performance against Ciro Mertens' Napoli side. But as a neutral, I would really want Maurizio Sarri to win a trophy in Italy. I think the only trophy he's won is a FA trophy in Serie A. And it'll be great if he can silence a lot of critics. I mean, a lot of knives have been pointed towards him. And of course, he's going against his former side as well. So a lot of excitement. I mean, obviously for us Serie A and Calcio fans, we're anyways excited that Calcio is back. But as a neutral, I'm hoping that we have a good final.
Wonderfully put there. Maurizio Sarri going against his former club. And trying, Juventus versus Napoli is always fun. We all remember 4-3. We all remember the classics they've had in the past. But this is a new match. This is a chance for a silverware. And Napoli would be looking to redeem themselves. Juve would be looking to add to their collection. Ronaldo, as Ajay mentioned, would be looking to win that trophy, which evades him. It's his second season. So all in all, a very good final to look forward to on Wednesday. And it's in Rome, by the way. Juventus versus Napoli in Rome. And for all those who have watched this, thank you. For all those who've kept messaging for the Panenka view to be back, a big thank you to all of you. And to my Calcio India brothers, I would love to say, to have you back and to discuss football with you is a very good period of my life. So looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday as well. And let's hope we get the best of the finals. So, like I always say before I end, here's your host Prasad signing out on this episode with Yogesh, Ajay, and Swarnim.
Thanks, Prasad. Take care, Swarnim. Take care, Yogesh. Good night.